All right. Hey guys, this is Bruce and welcome to ConvoCourses. And so I've been been very candid on the last few podcasts. And what's going on is I'm about to go to another job, and I thought it might be a good idea for me to talk about it to give people a real understanding of what's going on, outside of all the tech bro, I don't know, narratives or just people trying to sell a course or something. This is real. I just wanted to give you a real take on it. It's one of the things I like to see. One of the things that I look for when I'm looking for content is sometimes you need some like a real take on things, whether it's finances or your life or whatever. In this case, my career. This is real. I'm going through a transition where I'm about to get another job. So a couple weeks ago I talked about like why I was gonna do it. Um, what's going down. I talked about like some of the signs of that I'm seeing. Haven't done this for many years. Like I'm seeing some of the signs that it's time for me to get another job, and like the organizations, their goals are not aligning with my own personal goals anymore. Just silly things are starting to happen. They're starting to let go of good people, and I'm not sure why. And the people below are not sure like why. I mean, well, you're sure why, but it's like a political reason. So all that stuff's happening. So now I'm like, okay, I can see it's time to go. It's time for me to like put some effort into my search. Because my resume is always out there, but now I'm like really putting effort in. So what I've done is I reached out to some of my old coworkers. I reached out to like old work that I didn't mind, that was great, working with them, and they've been contacting me back. So it's happening. So far, just to give you an overview, I've already had one interview. Yes, this is real. I've already had one interview, and and we'll see. Like it's like the first of like three or four interviews that I got to do with this company. And I'm looking around and I'm looking at the job market, and I'm noticing like a few things have changed that are significant. Like I can see a gigantic shift happening in the market. It's you don't I'm having to use different techniques to get jobs, to even get seen, because there's so many people flooding the market. There's so much competition now. It's so the landscape has changed. I've noticed it's you can't just throw a resume out there. When I first started doing this, all you needed was a good ATS style resume, some keywords on it, put it on some sites, and you were good. Now I can see that the landscape is changing in a couple different ways. So I think I just want to tell you guys about that, what I'm seeing. Um, I didn't prepare any notes or anything. This is just like stuff. This is real world. Like in the last couple weeks, I've seen as I've been getting back in the job market. And I'll just let you guys know what I'm seeing. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Um, so yeah, I do have some stuff going on. I do have some irons in the fire that align with my goals, and I'll keep you guys in the loop on like what's happening in real time. This is real. This is not me trying to sell some stuff. This is like I'm really looking for a job. And Larry says, "Hey Bruce, nice to hear about the potential gig. Is this a stateside position or are you looking abroad?" I'm not going to go to abroad yet. That's maybe future. I'm trying to prepare myself to eventually go abroad. And long-term goals, something I've never shared on this channel or other channels, is that, or I don't think I have, is that I think my retirement's going to be outside of the U.S. because one just between me and you, I just think that there's no political will to fix the main problem in the U.S. There hasn't been. It doesn't matter what administration it is. Doesn't matter your political leaning. And when I mention it to you, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking. You're gonna be like, "Yep." There's nobody's trying to change this, and regardless of you whether you agree or disagree with the president. or this president or others, this is something nobody's trying to change in the US, and that's the cost of living. There's no political will to change it or fix it or anything. And I just don't see how I could actually live here comfortably, right? As a normal dude who hasn't made a multi-million-dollar product or service. I'm just a normal guy. So like, what am I? We got to realistically look myself in the mirror and say, okay, well, what are you going to do, dude? Like, you're going to be too old to, you're not going to want to work anymore, after couple decades, maybe a decade and a half. That's all I got left. And what am I going to do? So I don't think I'm going to live here. I think ultimately I'm going to retire. I'm going to be in another country. Um, I'll make income. What I'll do is I'll establish some income that can follow me anywhere. And then I'll just go to a place that has a lower cost of living. And that's what I think that's my goal, unless there's something drastic happens in the US, which I don't see it, man. I mean, since I've been here, the cost of living has gone up and up and up and up. And there's no, like, they're not trying to fix it. They're not trying to, they're throwing people pennies to work. They're getting rid of pension. You got to rely on a 401k that completely relies on the stock market. And I've seen some people do really well with that, but me, I don't have that. Like, I'm not trying to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be my last goal, my long-term goal right now. One of them is to probably have to live abroad. I hope that I can do something here to where I can stay. I love the U.S. I love like what the idea of the U.S., but I don't. This is my home, But I just don't see them fixing this main problems, and I've got to be real with myself. As much as I want the U.S. to win, I don't think the cost of living is allowing us to win. And I don't think it's going to get better. And I hate to be be negative about it, but I don't see us fixing that problem because doesn't seem like we want to fix it as a country. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the future, maybe future generations, maybe Gen Alpha will want to fix it, but I just don't right now, the way we've been going, I just don't know, man. Anyway, that's my long term. So right now I'm looking in the US. To answer your question, I'm looking in the US, and so far I've gotten one interview from a company. And that's got like 3 other interviews that has to happen. And then I've got reaching out to my a couple of old coworkers and peers, and I think that those will go well. Give it some time. I if I had to guess, I'd say within the next 2 months, in the next 60 days, I'll have another job. I'll have an offer. Put to you that way, I'll have an offer, and I will have either taken it or not. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. It's gonna happen once it happens, it'll happen pretty fast. That's how these things go. And Larry says, I've noticed the market being highly competitive as well. And I've noticed that applicants are coming with more certs than degrees. So I'm pushing myself to set my game up and get certified. Yeah. So I've noticed that too, Larry. And that's what I'm going to talk about here is what I've seen getting back into this market, being serious about it, getting interviews, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to show you kind of the landscape, and maybe you can follow along with some of the things that I've done that has worked. So number one thing that's worked is reaching out to coworkers who I know are successful. Some of my old coworkers who I know are working in a successful position. It's one of the most effective things I've done. And one coworker, I don't know who's watching this. Like, it's sometimes like I'm surprised by some of my coworkers watching this. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to get anybody in trouble or anything. I don't know if it would, but I reached out to a few of my old coworkers, or they reached out to me, and then we start talking. And then I'm starting to figure out, okay, do I want to go back to this old company, or do I want to go to the company that they're at? Like, some of them have moved on, and then they're at another company. And then they reach out to me and say, hey, you want to come over here? So that's one of the things you can do is if you have any successful relatives, friends, they're already not necessarily successful, but they're working in a place where they're kind of like where you want to be or where you're at, but they're in another organization. You should reach out to them. use the phone. I'm going to talk about AI and all this kind of stuff, but ultimately the old school stuff works better, which is to use the phone, like talk to a person and talk to them. Pick up the phone, message them, ask them how they're doing, ask them, like, get around to your situation, and then ask them how their job is going. Like, how is it where you're at? I'm thinking about moving. Do you guys have any positions? A lot of times positions are not listed on LinkedIn or on Indeed or on all these job aggregators, but the workers inside the company know that there's a job opening. So you got to call, and I've found that's the most effective right now, especially in this market. The most effective thing, like some old coworkers, old military buddies, old, like, there's somebody who's in a position where they're doing all right, and they're at a job. Maybe they've been working there for like 5-6 years, or maybe they just left and they're at this other company. You should contact them and be like, hey man, what's going on? Do they have any openings? What's going on over there? That shit works. So right now I'm already in talks with two of those people, after talking to 3 different people. So yeah, that definitely has worked. Now let me show you some other things that I'm doing that I've noticed. Number one, let me start off with something crazy I recently found out, which is that I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Monster, my favorite freaking job aggregator, my favorite job site, is filing for bankruptcy. In fact, Career Builder and Monster are filing after they merged, which I didn't even know they did, are filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and getting sold to another company, I think in Canada or something. So I don't know what this is going to mean to their brand or what's going to happen, but they're getting sold. It brings up something. Yeah, it says government services of Valsoft, a Canadian company, is acquiring Monster Gov Solutions. Oh, so they're breaking it apart. It sounds like. Yeah, so they filed for bankruptcy. Career Builder and Monster are both early pioneers in the online job searching launch starting in the 1990s. They merged in September 2024. Wow, and I guess that didn't help them, huh? The merger aimed at integrating the two companies for a great, strong platform. Bankruptcy and asset sales mark a significant shift in online recruiting landscape. The sale of assets to different buyers may lead to changes in how job seekers. Yeah, so this right here shows that the market, like the way things are going, has changed, like is changing right before our eyes. That's what I'm seeing, is that there's a real change happening right now. And I see you guys' questions. I will definitely take this. Stand by. I will definitely be taking those questions on TikTok and on YouTube and stuff. So this right here is showing that there's a real change happening right now, and it's interesting to see. And how, let me just show you, like, one of the things I've been doing to try to navigate these changes and stuff. So what I've noticed is kind of like what Larry said, which is everything's really competitive, and I think it's because you get on LinkedIn or everybody knows about this. Everybody's on here, and one of the problems is, let me just show you in real time here. If I look for a job for RMF, right, risk management framework, and I'm looking at jobs. Let me just show you in real time, like what's going on here. This job came out here's the job right here. Project Manager USA. This is, let me show you how much money does this one make. It's in San Diego. It's in San Diego, and I can't scroll down. So let me just show you here. 3 days ago, and there's already 44 applicants. And this is an on-site job. Now let me show you remote jobs. So for remote jobs, it's even more competitive. It's way, way, way more competitive for remote jobs. And let's see here. Let's just type in remote here. Let's see if that'll work. Remote. Nope. Can't do remote here. Okay, I'm not. Maybe there's no remotes for this position. Let me see. How about just cybersecurity? What I'm trying to show you is that there is a ton of competition out there. Tons and tons of competition. Here we go. There's all my filters. I'm wondering what's going on with my filters here. I'm not okay. Here we go. Remote. Okay, I did something with my filters here. All right. So anyway, what I wanted to show you. Oh, here you go right here. Software engineer. This is exactly what I was trying to show you. This is 2 weeks old. There's 100 applicants for this. It's just really, really competitive. And I've noticed that if you're on LinkedIn trying to apply for jobs, it's just, and this is why I normally would go to other platforms to find jobs. I have not had luck finding a job specifically on LinkedIn. I get a lot of people contacting me, and having conversations with me, but not like there's just too much competition on here. It's like there's too many people there. It's just like it's too ridiculous. You got to find jobs like within a day or something, and there's a way to like what you have to do is go in the last 24 hours and then be specific about what role you're trying to get. So I know that RMF is my main keyword here, so I'm going to type that in, and then I have to look in the last 24 hours. And yeah, look at that. So here's one right here. 0 people have clicked this one. And it might be because they're looking for a active clearance. So there's ways around it, but still it's pretty competitive. It's still pretty competitive. And so one of the things I do is I actually put my profile on multiple job platforms, and that seems to work. A lot of my job opportunity, at least 2 jobs I know for sure, came from combination of Dice and Monster. Like I actually got hired off of putting my stuff on those sites. But here's another thing I want to show you guys, and I mentioned this a couple times, and this is a paid service, so I don't know if you want to use this, but this is a site called Use Massive. Use Massive. Go to this link, usemassive.com. It's an AI-based job site. And what it does is as soon as you put your profile out, it will automatically sign you up for jobs. So let me show you what I mean here. You do your profile, your contacts, all that kind of stuff. And if it starts matching you directly with jobs that you fit best in. Well, it's not perfect, but what I found is kind of like helping you by applying for a bunch of jobs. And this is the tools like this is probably why you have 100 people applying for the same job on Booz Allen or whatever, because they're using tools to automatically apply. I think that's what's happening. And also the US job market is like worldwide, it's like working at Google. They pay higher and there's more jobs. It's something that's not like talked about, but it's not appreciated. It's taken for granted by us Americans. But our job market is getting hit by everybody on planet Earth. So you're competing against everyone. Like it's not just Americans. Like you're competing with people in India, in with the exception of maybe Russia and China, right? And some of them too, because they're if their students are here, like this market is it's hardcore, man. It's taken for granted how good it is. Even when there's recessions, whatever, believe it or not, like a lot of times when it's bad here, it's way worse in other countries. And what you should take for, I mean, what you should think in my mind, like the way I take it is that we're lucky, especially if you are an American, you live here, you're lucky to have, you have a huge advantage over most people because you can apply for jobs in their country or our country, and we have one of the best markets out there, and it pays better, all everything. It's got remote positions, you name it. Like it's just a real hot ass market. Anyway, this is Use Massive right here, and I can apply for these jobs or whatever. It's paid. One of the best things about it is that it'll find the jobs. And even though, like, let me show you here. Like, if I wanted to apply for this job, I've already maxed out all of my, yeah, I've already hit my limit. So you hit your limit on job applications this quarter. You have to wait for the next billing cycle, blah, blah, blah. Right. So, and I don't know, I think this is broken. I don't think this is right. They want to charge me to apply for more. But what I'll do is I'll take this. It found the job for me. So I'll go here I'll find what's the name of this company, right? I'll go here. As a matter of fact, you can just go click this right here. Here's their link right here on LinkedIn. See what I'm saying? And so it just found the job for me. I'll go to their site on LinkedIn. And then if I go under jobs, it'll have that job and I can just apply directly. Now, AI took some of the time out because it applies immediately as soon as the job comes out. But if I can't, like, they're going to charge me extra for that. I've already paid for applying for 100 jobs or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and go directly here and then start applying. So I started doing that, and I found a ton of this thing found jobs in all kinds of fields, in all kinds of areas that I didn't even know existed. Like, look at this one. This is a job for OpenAI. Look at this. OpenAI is paying. They're paying people. I didn't even know this job existed. Look at this. OpenAI is hiring right now. If you are in Seattle or San Francisco's where they're at. This job that I found that I could actually do is in, I want to say it was Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. But this is one of many incredible jobs that, they have more than one. Oh shit, and this one's remote. Oh wait, I might have to apply for this one, y'all. Look at that, 100 people already applied for this damn job. So I got to fight to the death with 100 different people on this OpenAI position. This is a data center that they're making right now. That's what's happening right now. So another tool before I start opening up to questions, you guys got to see this, is just going to Gemini or OpenAI itself. So what you do is you go to deep research. Go to deep research right here. And then you'll, and I think this would work without deep research. You give it your resume. Right now, keep in mind, I want to be very clear here. I don't know what Google and OpenAI and Facebook Meta and all of them do with our information. Okay. There is a privacy concern with using these models online because they keep your information goes to the cloud whenever you give them your information. If you give them any of your information, that it's going to the cloud. They have your information, and then it's on them to have some level of protection in their cloud infrastructure. Okay. And we don't know right now what they're doing with the information. Right. So you got to be careful. This is why I'm very careful with, I just don't trust deep. What's the one from China? The Chinese ones. Not that I don't trust them so much as the government is very clear that they're going to do whatever they want with their information. They're very upfront about it. We own the company. We're going to do whatever the hell we want with your information. We have the right to do it. It's in their laws. In their laws, it says we're going to do whatever the hell we want. If you're okay with that, then click thumbs up, right? And then me, I'm like, nah, I'm not. That's not okay. And they do. Like if there was just to give you an idea of the CCP, the Chinese government, there was a comedian where he went viral and he just made a joke about the CCP, and they start deleting them from all platforms. They know his name, his face, whatever, and they flagged him. So he signed up for like Red Note after going viral, and he signed up for Red Note, and they immediately banned him because they punched his ticket. They can do whatever they want with your information, and they take stuff very personally. So, just keep in mind what my point is. Whenever you are using AI, especially open AIs, Chat GPT, Gemini on Google, Facebook, Meta, you already know Facebook, how they roll. Um, any company, not just the U.S., not just Chinese government, even the European, they have their own LLMs. I think it's called Minstrel, and there's other ones that are coming out that are out there good. They're good. They do awesome work, but you just got to keep in mind that you don't know what they're going to do with your personal information. All right, so just be mindful that you're putting your private information in their cloud infrastructure. That's all I want you to keep in mind at all times. You know, and since all of this is new, it's kind of nebulous on what they're going to be able to do with our information. We don't know. You are taking a risk by using these cloud platforms. That's why I'm personally excited about using more um, local LLMs. If those kind of get a little bit better, and they are getting better, that you'll be able to use all the stuff I'm about to show you. You'll be able to use it locally and not have your data leaked, in these massive breaches or whatever. Which in the U.S., one of the biggest concerns right now is that the infrastructures are not protecting our data properly, and then it gets breached, and then your information is in some 1.5 billion parameter data breach, right? And nowadays they can take all that information that's breached, put it in another LLM, and then figure out ways to hack your ass. So there is a risk to all the stuff I'm showing you. Okay, so that's it. That out of the way, disclaimers out of the way. You can go ahead and put your resume. Now, you can change your personal information in a resume. Now, keep in mind, you could use a little trick where you take your resume and tweak it to where you take your personal information out or whatever to reduce the risk or whatever. I just took my whole resume, I put it into ChatGPT, and I said, look, I want a remote job that pays about this much money. I want it to be in cybersecurity based on my resume. I want you to take what I have and find me some jobs. Find jobs that have been posted within the last 7 days. I'm very specific. It has to be posted in the last 7 days. It's got to be a remote job. It's got to make X amount of money. And that's, I had all this criteria, and I said, find the job. And Deep Research will actually go on the web, and it's finding jobs on ZipRecruiter, on LinkedIn, on everything, on all these different sites. And then it goes to the employer sites. It's finding some employer sites who recently released stuff. It's scraping the web, and then it's bringing me back the results. So you can do this on Gemini. You can do this on Anthropic's Claude. You can do this on anything that has like a deep research that will go on the website, on the internet, and then pull information in real time. You can do this. And so here's some of the results. Here's some of the results that I have right here. And it's breaking down. Look at how much detail there is here. It's telling me where to go, how to apply, all this kind of stuff. And it just goes on and on and on. And then it goes into, let me see if I can find it. I haven't had time to go through all this stuff yet. I'm still going through all of this. It had links to every job I can apply for. Yeah, here's some of them right here. Look at this. This is all the sources that it used to do the report. But it also had a thing where it broke down each one of the jobs where I can actually apply. So, yeah, this is another tool I've been using. The one that I've had the most success on would be this one right here, Use Massive. This is where I got my interview from. So I put my stuff in here, and then this Use Massive actually, it landed me an interview. Like, I've actually been invited to more than one interview using this one. So this right here is a tool I would highly recommend. These other tools are a bit dated. I would say LinkedIn is incredible for research. I've still used LinkedIn quite a bit for research, like finding jobs, communicating directly to employers, finding people in that company, asking them direct questions, finding recruiters for those companies, workers in those companies, asking them direct questions. Nothing beats LinkedIn for stuff like that. And hopefully LinkedIn continues to develop their AI backend so they can do stuff like use massive. But some of the old ones like Dice, I still use those. ZipRecruiter, just got back into that one. You can see that there's a changing of the guard, and anybody who's not keeping up with the times is going the way of Blockbuster. Unfortunately, my favorite job aggregator, Monster, and Career Builder have filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Let me take some questions. I see you guys in here. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. This is right now. If you're joining me late, I'm telling you about my journey right now to getting a job. I've gotten to a point where it's time for me to get a new job, a new position. So I'm actively looking right now, and I've found that the job market has changed. Shout out Larry. Larry brought up some great points. He's saying that it's way more competitive, and I would add to that in cybersecurity. At least I can speak on this one. In my industry, in the federal, I'm in the federal space right now. Um, Number one, like those really has had an impact on us. Like it's definitely real. Like they're letting people go, they're restructuring stuff. How smart is it? I don't, to be honest with you, it's not very, like, just looking inside, it's not very, it doesn't make any sense. It's very political inside. It's like it's a lot of talk about, oh, it's going to streamline this and streamline, but some of the things they're doing is not streamlined. There's redundancies, and they're getting rid of good people. It doesn't make any sense, right? It just doesn't make any sense, and it's unfortunate that we're all going to suffer. I mean, these are organizations who do our taxes. These are organizations who protect our personal information. This is impacting all industries that protect the public. These are public organizations, and I'm seeing in real time they're just not making sense, guys. It's not making any sense. I'm just being honest with you. And this is me as an American saying, like, man, it's just sad to see. It's very dumb, and a lot of good people are going to leave. Like, if they keep doing this, they're going to start. It's going to be like what happened in China, where they start losing their brain trust, or Germany, 1940s, when they start losing it. The only reason Germany lost the war is because they lost like more than half of their smartest people who didn't fit the description that they wanted. Right? They were Jewish people or immigrants or something, and they started going after them, and then they started leaving. All their brain trust. Think about it. All the people who made a lot of, not all, but many of the people who were responsible for the theoretical physics and the actual implementation of the atomic bomb were people that came from Germany, Austria and Germany. And if the Germans had been inclusive and included all of that talent, they wouldn't have lost that brain trust. And guess what? We'd all be speaking freaking German right now. And I mean, granted, they wouldn't be able to do half the shit they did, because they would have had to be inclusive and stuff. But my point is, and I'm not saying I want to win or some kind of political statement. All I'm saying is, if you kick out your brain trust, they go to another place. And that's what happened in China. Has lost a gigantic portion of their smartest people. They have gone all over the world. Has gone to Australia, have gone to Canada, have gone to the U.S. Look at the math competitions. The U.S. won math competition. It's all Chinese. It's like those guys could have been in China. Like, that could have been second generation Chinese kids that won those competitions. You can't, like, they're cutting out the brain trust and all the man, I don't know. I don't want to get too bent out of shape about it, but I'm in the gov tech space, and it's sad to see such a great country do something so stupid, so incredibly stupid, by cutting out their brain trust. Somebody said, what is the prompt? What is the prompt that I use? So let me see if I can find the original prompt that I used. So first of all, I uploaded my resume. I wanted ChatGPT, or Gemini is what I used. I wanted Gemini to see exactly what I wanted to do here. I mean, they need to see where I'm at. in order to know where to go. So I uploaded my resume, and you do that in the prompt itself. And then what I said was, it was something basic, like it's not fancy. It's saying exactly what I want. So it's something like, if I write it down, I'll remember better. You see, it was something like this. Let me show my screen here on YouTube. So it's something like this. My prompt was like, using my current uploaded resume. Now, first thing I did was I think a couple weeks ago, I walked you guys through me going through my entire resume. I updated all of it. It took me a couple days to do it. I got a lot of stuff going on there. I had to reword and restructure some of the stuff that I did, and I had to upload. I had to put a lot of new keywords in there and stuff like that that's in line with the market. And then once I did all of that, it's crucial that I'm telling you this, because that's where I started from. And then I uploaded my resume here, and then I put this prompt in here. I said, using my current uploaded resume. Right? This is the first part. This is the context. I'm giving it full 100% context, what I needed to branch off of. And it's going to go off of every single paragraph in your resume and say, okay, this person has this skill set. And then it's going to match it with different jobs. It's going to use that to match different jobs. So this is really important. You got to start off with using my uploaded resume. And then I said, find a job uploaded. First rule, uploaded in last 7 days. I figured 7 days. I thought about like today, and you could probably do that. That might be better. But I was just thinking, like, if 7 days gives it time to actually populate on the internet so that it can find it. So that was my rationale behind doing the last 7 days. 7 days might actually be too much. You might even try 3 days or something like that. I said, upload in the last 7 days. A job uploaded in the last 7 days. And then I said, remote positions. Remote is very important to some of us because we have special needs kids. There's a reason why we need to be at home, or we just don't like the office. Like maybe we live in a remote, rural area, whatever, for whatever reason, we want to work remote. Me, I like working remote. So I said remote positions. And I said, last 7 days, remote positions, and that align. You don't even have to spell right. It'll spell it right for you. It'll know what you mean. You know what I'm saying? That match up with my resume. Or you could say something like that I'm a good fit for. And have salary of at least 135K. You got to be realistic. If you say, $200,000, but you're an entry level help desk person, it's not going to find those jobs, right? I mean, it might find something that's not in line with what you can do or want to do. So just be realistic about. That's another thing. Like once you do your market research, you'll know what salary range that normally happens. And so the more realistic and smart and contextual your prompt is, it's like in order to ask the proper question, you have to have knowledge to ask it. Otherwise, it's going to come up with some nonsense that's not going to make sense or align with what you're trying to do. All right. So yeah, at least 35K. And then I could also say, you could say something like, this is optional. I want only W-2 with benefits, because it could come up with 135K per year. Let's make sure we put per year here, but it's all 1099s, which means I'm a contractor and they're gonna go directly with my LLC, which is, that wouldn't be bad. But this is just another thing you can do. So my prompt was something like this. It used a lot of context because I put my own resume in there. I said I wanted stuff within the last 7 days, because if it's 30 days old or something, then more than likely 100 people have already applied for it. I want a remote position. Another thing I put in here is I said I was willing to work in the office if it was 200,000 or more. Then I was willing to relocate or whatever. So that was another caveat I put in there. And then I said match it up with my resume, because I want to find something that I'm competitive in and that I can do, hit the ground running. And then the salary I wanted was comparable to what I currently have, right? And I think a smarter thing would be have to put like a range. If I would have put a range in there, that might be smarter. But this is what I put in there. And then this is optional. I didn't really do this one, but W-2 with benefits. So that's it. That's the pop that I use, and it worked. Another thing you want to try out is something called Use Massive. And I'm not right now, not I don't have any, I'm not going to make any money off of you going to this site. I'm not giving you any affiliate links or anything. I probably should. I think they have one, but I'm just telling you that this worked. This got me 2 different interviews. If you count all of their interviews they offered me, it's more like 4 or 5. I've been offered 4 or 5 interviews, and I've only taken one. So, and I can show you, I'm not lying to you here. Like these are some of the interviews that I got offered here. I don't want to give too much people's information here, but yeah. So yeah, these are some interviews that I've been offered that they try to set up with me, and I've taken one. So yeah, that's my journey right there. That's where I'm at. Pretty soon it's about to go down. Like something's about to happen within the I sus- I suspect, having been in this position before, I suspect within the next 60 days I'll have a job offer in my hand, and we'll be going back to business as usual, because I'll have a job, and then I'll have another job. Larry says, I've been looking into positions that are open to applicants with the ability to obtain the clearance. In your opinion, are these positions harder to get, and do cleared positions typically pay more? Yeah, Larry, in my experience, they're not harder to get. Um, as a matter of fact, you're not competing with. It cuts out a lot of people, because people who are in the country who are not U.S. citizens, right? And that's like people who are, I don't know, they're not citizens of the U.S., right? So they can't get a secret clearance. They're green card holders or whatever, and they can do the work, but they're not U.S. citizens, so they're not eligible for secret or top secret clearance. That's what that means. And so I found that those are less competitive. Like it weeds out some of the people that you would normally compete against. And so if you have a clearance or you're eligible for clearance, it's actually easier to get those positions. They're less competitive because not everybody can do them, especially if you're willing to go in the office or travel. Like the more of those things that you put in there, the more competitive you are against everyone else, and the easier those positions are to get. So those are good ones to get. Ability to obtain means that you are a U.S. citizen and that you don't have a criminal record. That's another thing. So let me see. Your other part of the question is, in your opinion, are these positions harder to get? Yeah, they're not harder to get. I would say they're easier. And then, are these clear? Do they pay more? It depends on. Yes, number one, but it also depends on where it is, on how much more that they pay. Like if you're on the East Coast, I notice cleared positions pay way more than any other parts of the country. There's a couple hot spots for cybersecurity, at least. It's in number one being the DMV area, DC, Virginia, um, DC, Virginia, Maryland. That whole area pays the most, has the most cleared jobs as far as I know, and pays the best. And then I mean, all that's shifting now with all this Doge bullshit going on. Um, the other place would be, just in random order, would be Plano, Texas has some. Southern California has some of those types of cleared jobs. You find them here in Colorado. Some of the major cities have them. Basically anywhere where you see a lot of federal offices, bases, places like that will have a lot of those types of jobs. And I believe some of the state capitals, because some state governments also, some of those need to be have some kind of clearance. So hope that answers your question. Next question is from Tariq. How you doing, sir? He says CAS plus CISM or C-Risk. Which will be best on the market now, and to pair with a master's in cyber and a TSSCI. My man's not playing around. He got a sword, a shield, some armor. He's not messing around. He's about to come out. He's about to come in swinging. Let's look it up. Let me see. Let's see if I can if this thing works properly. I've been shifting gears on some of these search apps here. And so let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. Let's go to, yeah, see how I've been searching these a couple times here. Let's start off with the baseline CISSP, so I can give you an idea. So CISSP, when you just search CISSP, is 8,000 jobs. So it's a huge market for CISSP. Now, let's take it to, you said CASP. CASP plus. CASP, I think, is a really good certification. 1,000 jobs. Not bad, not bad. Now, keep in mind, not search in location. I didn't put in like how much pay or date posted or anything like that. I'm just looking at numbers, just raw numbers, to get an idea of what's the market looking like. How many people, what this is telling us is how many employers are looking for this particular certification. How many times do they list specifically CISM, for example, on there? So CISM has 3,000. It's right up there with the CISSP. So so far, of the ones you've mentioned, it looks like the CISSP. Now let's look at C-Risk. I've thought about getting this one. Whoops. Sorry about that. I put something, messed that one up. C-Risk. C-Risk. Risk. Okay, there we go. 500 jobs. So of the list, you said CASP, CISM, or C-Risk. The best one of that list is going to be the CISM. And I give, from personal experience, CISSP, most marketable. CISA would be in second place. And then CISM is battling for third place as far as a cybersecurity certification that is neutral, right? Meaning it's vendor neutral, which means it's not Cisco. It's not, it's neutral. It's not talking about any one vendor to get you to buy some product or something. As far as vendor neutral cybersecurity certifications, it goes CISSP in order of marketability, not necessarily whether it's good or not, like as a teaching tool or whatever, right? It's straight up marketability, as in people know what it is, and they're trying to hire people with it. CISSP, CISA, CISM, but there's a battle for third because there's a couple other ones that come close to CISM, but those three right there always come up in the top, usually come up in the top three. The CASP I think is battling for fourth, because that one's up there. As far as like a vendor neutral cybersecurity certification, CASP is definitely in the runnings. But remember, CASP kind of just came out, and now CASP is no longer CASP. Now they're going to call it the Security X, CompTIA Security X, and that's every time they change the name or something like that, the marketability suffers a bit because the brand shifts, and then people got to get to know that better. Like it's the remember, it's HR a lot of times and technical recruiters that are out there hiring people, and so they are not in our field, so they don't really know the difference between like a CASP and a CEH, for example. They don't really know, like these are just acronyms to them. But once you repeat something over and over again, like CISSP, like people start to know what that is, especially if they're a technical recruiter. They start to get some idea of what it is, and it has the name itself holds some weight. Think of it like marketability. Think of it like your favorite local burger joint that people talk about that only locals know about and is really good versus McDonald's. The local burger joint, like we in Colorado, we had this place called Lark Burger. Amazing quality meat. The bread was amazing. Like every part of it, down to the damn lettuce, was like farmer picked dopeness. It was delicious. One of the best burgers I've ever tasted. There wasn't even a comparison with McDonald's. McDonald's, it's not in the same ballpark as this burger. The quality was amazing, right? But the marketability of McDonald's, everybody knows the name McDonald's. Everybody knows what a Big Mac is. You know, everybody knows. You guys don't know what Lark Burger is. It's gone now, as a matter of fact. It doesn't even exist. It's not in Colorado, as far as I know. Maybe in Denver, I don't know. But they don't have one locally anymore. It's gone. But it was way better than McDonald's, but you would not know that. The marketability of McDonald's is it's world. You can't go a place on earth aside from maybe the moon, North Korea, and that's it. Those are only underwater that, you know what I mean? Antarctica that never, they don't have a McDonald's there. Every place else I've gone on planet Earth has a McDonald's. Even fucking Russia has a McDonald's. They just call it something else. So, yeah, marketability is it really means something. So of that list, Tariq, I would say the CISM would be the one that is bigger. Tariq says Huntsville, Alabama is booming. Yeah, and it's cheap cost of living. Yep, definitely. I got a friend that lives out there, and she's killing it over there. No plus on that list, or do you mean higher tier certs? Yeah, higher tier certifications is what I was referring to. Security Plus is the one where I would say is fighting for that third place. But it's not a top tier certification. It's a great certification. It's one of my favorites of all times. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. It's a great cert, and I know you're going after that one. Great start. The next one after that will be one of the three we just mentioned. Is what I'm saying. Just to let you know that your time is not wasted, Larry. Let me show you what I mean by that, marketability wise. Let me type in Security Plus and show you what I mean. 700,000 jobs. Okay, that's not right. That can't be right. CompTIA Security Plus. Okay. Yes, Security Plus is no joke. It's a great service. One of my favorite certifications. 6,000 jobs. I mean, and that's saying CompTIA Security Plus. Yeah, this beats CISSP. As far as marketability, probably more people know what a Security Plus is than a CISSP. So yeah, your time's not wasted. Is a great entry level to intermediate level certification. It doesn't just open the doors; it blows the doors off the hinges. It's very marketable. It's a very good certification to get to start with security. If you're serious about your security career, then and you're really trying to get in this market, yes, Security Plus is no joke. How did you learn GRC? I'm on TikTok right now. How did you learn GRC? What resources did you use? I learned it when I was in the military. I started off in the military, um, and this doesn't mean you have to go into the military. Just let me explain. Give me a second here. In the military, I was a help desk guy. They needed somebody to do to do that job to do, and I didn't want to do it. But in the military, you don't have a choice. They just send you wherever the hell you're needed. And they sent me over to do something called it DIACAP. It was like DOD Information Assurance. No, it's DITSCAP. I don't. It's an acronym within an acronym within an acronym. Essentially, it was certification and accreditation for Department of Defense Systems, which is a crazy way of saying risk management framework, which is another way of saying GRC. So I started doing it in the military, and we didn't have the resources we have now. Like, it was in the early 2000s, right? So, and I'm really dating myself, but I just read the regulations. But what it taught me was that every industry and sector has the same regulations, has the same standards, regulations, and frameworks. And if you know those, whether you're in retail sector, the healthcare sector, or financial sector, you can get into GRC. Case in point, in healthcare sector or pharma or whatever, they have something called HIPAA. In the U.S., they call it HIPAA. So this is Healthcare Insurance Portability Act of 1996 or something like that. Essentially, what it does is it protects your patient information, your financial insurance information, things like that. Things that you would expect that it's not going to be advertised on the news or on the internet, right? It's illegal for them to leak your info, to put your information out there if you have, God forbid, some kind of ailment of some sort, right? It has to have some sort of protection. So to protect that information in the healthcare sector, they have that law. Now, that law does not go far enough to fully realize all the things an organization must do to protect the information of patients. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things you have to do. You have to have controls on medical devices. You need to have a culture of cybersecurity, vulnerability management on all the systems that are being used. There's just a ton encryption. There's just a ton of stuff that goes around all of that. So HIPAA kind of barely scratches the surface of what's supposed to happen. But just by knowing HIPAA, it'll point to the direction you need to go for best security practices. Now, your organization might, of course, they abide by HIPAA, but underneath HIPAA, to have a more detailed view of how to actually protect, say, medical device, you might have something called HITRUST or High Trust, HITRUST, CSF. You might also use something like NIST CISSP, the NIST 800 or the NIST CSF. You might use something else that breaks down all the security controls on a given system. You might use CIS V8 or whatever. But all of these things break down all the security controls. I didn't know all of this when I first started. I just thought the policy was just a waste. Like, it was just like, damn, why am I doing this? I don't want to do all this documentation. And I was right. Like, it was a lot of documentation. It wasn't like it is now, where you have a lot of continuous monitoring. They integrated more automation and technical best practices into GRC, whereas back in the day, they didn't close that gap. You were just doing a lot of documentation on this end, and then over here you had IT people putting up stuff. Now they've kind of merged them together, and that's what GRC is. GRC includes not only the governance, which has all the the policy, security policies, and all that, risk management. It has risk management in there, which is continuous monitoring using automated devices, and you have compliance that marries all of this together to make sure that you are in line with the federal, the state, the industry, and everything. So it kind of like a full circle. So how did I learn it? I learned it by reading regs, and you can too. Like, you go back to the roots, whatever industry you happen to be in. you like you're in healthcare sector, you read HIPAA, right? If you read through HIPAA, you don't have to read the actual law of HIPAA. Like you can just get a book and go through. Hell, actually, the bylaws of the hospital or organization you work in will have how they meet HIPAA. If you read that, you'll have a really good understanding of what they need for GRC to do continuous monitoring, to do compliance, and to do governance. It's a really good start. And that's kind of what I teach is like whatever industry you happen to be in, I say, okay, let's focus on this. This is what you need to know, but you got to have the framework and understanding what GRC is first. Let me see. Desi says, I got my Security Plus cert and I still haven't found a decent job in the field. It's been a challenge. Yeah. So the Security Plus is an awesome certification, but you do need, it's not magic. Like what they're really looking for is technical experience. Technical experience. And a lot of folks think security is tricky because there's some confusion. Security is not an entry level. It's not really entry level. All right. That said, you can start doing security wherever you happen to be. But to get a role in cybersecurity, it's not entry level, man. It's not entry level. So the misconception is that people want to get in the field and they keep focusing on security, 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 not understanding, especially if you're not in the industry already, if you're not in healthcare, if you're not in financial sector doing certain things, there's a gap in your knowledge base. You need to learn basic information technology. I'm not saying it's impossible to, because I know a few people, some of my coworkers, as a matter of fact, are not technical and they got in this position. Some people I've worked with, having done this for a long time, are not technical and they got in. But let me tell you, they have a challenge. There's a huge challenge for them. And going forward, it's getting more technical. It's getting more and more technical, I've noticed, because they want to get you in these positions, and then they're like, okay, now we want you to do vulnerability management. And you're like, what? I thought I was just doing documents. I thought I was just stacking documents, writing policy or something. And then they're like, nah. See this tool right here? This is called Splunk. Now we want you to look at these logs. You're like, what the fuck? So yeah, I've had coworkers who weren't technical and got in, and they never did IT help desk. They never did, any of that. They really have a hard time in some of our meetings because they get technical. So I would say you need to have that, build your IT background. Like right now, if you have a Security Plus, let's say you have no experience, you just got out of college, you just got your certification, you're coming from a whole nother field. You've been doing this other field for a long time, clerical work or something. Right now, what you need to focus on is getting your hands dirty. You need to touch some systems. You need to fix some shit. Get a help desk job. Be a cable guy for a while. You've got to actually get your hands dirty, like do some IT work, because that's going to help your resume. Doing the basic stuff is what's really going to help your resume. If you happen to be in a great position where you're already in healthcare and you're like, damn, I'm tired of being a CNA. I'm tired of being a nurse. I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired. I want to move on. Or you're a teacher. You're like, man, this is too stressful. They're not paying me enough. I don't want to do this no more. You're in a unique position where you can make a lateral change. What I mean by that is, talk to the IT department wherever you happen to be working and see if you can get in with them and start learning, getting hands-on right now, immediately. I'm telling you this because that's what I did when I was in the military. I was a grunt, an Air Force grunt. I was, it's funny, in the military, they make fun of the Air Force a lot because they're like, oh, Chair Force, you guys don't do any you guys aren't real military. I was real military. I really I worked with the Marines, with the Army. I did nothing but shoot weapons for 5 years. I was a grunt. I was a real grunt. They really have those jobs in the Air Force. When I was in, they had them, and so I I love computers and stuff. But what I did was I made a lateral move. I was still in the military. I was a grunt. I moved over to IT. That's what you can do too. Whatever job you happen to be. If you're in Walmart doing retail has an IT department. They have one of the dopest IT departments on planet Earth. Working for Walmart, come on. They got to have their shit together, you know. So AWS, same thing. Amazon, like they got to have their shit. If you are packager in Amazon, same thing. They have an IT department, one of the best in the world. See if you can make a lateral change from wherever you happen to be over to that other field. I mean, over into that other department. You got to get the basic IT fundamentals down, and then that's going to open the doors for more money when you start to specialize in cybersecurity. There are some exceptions. I would say if you're a project manager, project managers, whether it's in retail or in the government or anything, they have a lot of exposure to systems engineering. So they know something about like the system development life cycle, right? Which even IT help desk guys don't know what the hell that is. But if you happen to just certain positions, if you work in those things, you can get into cybersecurity. Not only can you get into cybersecurity, but you'll understand a lot of things that are happening already because you're already doing it. Another one is software applications development, software development, DevOps. If you do anything with that, that one's you can go easily slip into cybersecurity and GRC work because you're already doing some of it. And there's a few other. If you're in the healthcare sector, if you happen to be a HIPAA person, like if you're actually just doing HIPAA already, and you're like, I want to do cybersecurity, it's going to be a pretty easy lateral change to do GRC stuff for stuff like that. Like if you're doing compliance already, project management, software development, help desk. There's certain jobs that if you're already doing them, you're already doing a lot of that stuff. All right, let me see here. Okay, I've been talking for about an hour and I got to stop here real soon, but let me speed run through some of these questions. Tariq says, I feel like everybody has a security plus now. In this market, I don't think that it's enough to get you a cyber job. That's true. So you have to have, you need to, security plus is great, is an awesome certification, but you need to get your hands dirty. You need to understand IT fundamentals. Some kind of background in IT is going to help you out. If you have those things, it's going to help you quite a bit. And then Tariq goes on to say, security plus and a clearance, though, you're in the game. Yeah, if you have a clearance, and that's another misconception about cybersecurity is that people don't fully understand. I see that because they're asking the wrong questions. The question seems to suggest that you have to have a clearance to do cybersecurity, and you don't. Normally, in 99% of the jobs I've had, I had to have a background check to get, because I'm going to be exposed to sensitive information as a cybersecurity person. But it's not a background check is not a background check and a clearance are not the same thing. You know what I mean? Like a background check is them checking on to see if you have a criminal record or if you're going to work for this bank, but they want to make sure you never robbed banks before. You know, that's a background check. But a clearance is different. Like a clearance is like you're about to be exposed to national secrets. We want to make sure you are a U.S. citizen, or you're in the U.K., you're in Canada, you're about to work for the Canadian government, you're about to work for the U.K. government. They want to make sure you're a U.K. citizen or a Canadian citizen before you get a clearance, because you're going to be exposed to information that only very few citizens of that country get exposed to, and you could hurt the actual nation if they have to really make sure that you are not going to leak this and take this information and leak it to another country, right? At least that's what's supposed to happen with a clearance. So yeah, clearance is different. Like clearance is a secret or a top secret, which is different from just a background check. Now, they do a background check for a secret and a top secret, but to give you an example, my current job, I don't have a secret clearance. I have a public trust, and that included a long background check. So let me keep going. Tariq, I'm hoping Security Plus will eventually a PMP will good pairing my 5 years of experience in educate. Yeah, man, that's you're in, Larry. Like you're you're on the right track. That's for sure. You are off. Oh, Tariq says my LinkedIn box and phone has been ringing off the hook since I got since a PMP. Yeah, PMP is no joke. PMP is no joke. I know some top cybersecurity professionals who got the PMP. PMP is no joke. I would love to get my CISSP eventually, but looking to leverage that with getting ready with what I already have. Um, Hopefully, get the biggest bang for my buck. For my buck, yes, that is the smartest thing you can do is use your current experience. Use your current experience to leverage to get more money. I'll give you an example. This will make sense to you. When I first made my cross train, that's what we called it, made a lateral move. I was in the military, in the Air Force, and I was a grunt. I was a weapons specialist, if you can believe that. And I wanted to do computers. I really loved it. I wanted to be a software engineer. But after I learned more about what was going on with IT as a whole, I realized software engineering wasn't what I thought it was. And everything I was already currently doing with physical security lined up perfectly with cybersecurity and IT. Some of the concepts I learned in IT, when you start doing IT fundamentals, it includes physical security. I didn't know that. And there was a lot of concepts from physical security that translated well. Not even just translated, like you actually have to physically protect the box of whatever system you're using. Like that's a huge. So I used my experience as a weapon specialist, physical security expert as leverage to help me to get into cyber to understand. Not only was it helpful when I got out of the military because I was able to say, "Oh yeah, I already have 6 years of physical security experience. So you want me to do an assessment on this building? Okay, I can do that." Um, I was able to leverage that and use that on my resume, but I understood the information. Like I just understood like access control. I got it. It was like, yeah, I know what that is. I got you. Access control lists. Yeah, there's even some of the same documents we used when I was when I was a physical security guy. Same documents were used, like of the visitor control log, stuff like that. That's still relevant with what I do today. So that's that leverage. Whatever experience you have, if there's a way you can use the experience you have now and transition into IT, like use it. It's gonna really help you to understand things. And Larry, you're really on the right track because project management has a lot. I'm doing a lot of stuff with right now doing GRC. I use a lot of project management's best practices, and there's a lot of things that translate back and forth, like dependencies. Like if you're doing a schedule for, I have to work with different departments, and I don't necessarily know what satellite system engineer. I don't know their job. I don't know how to, I don't know how telemetry works between the dish here and the satellite. I don't know the depths of their job. I don't need to. I just need to know here's our schedule. Here's dependencies on when I can't do X, Y, and Z until you guys finish this part, and we might have to use a spreadsheet or a Gantt chart to figure out all that stuff out. So just little things like that is lines up perfectly with with project management. So some of the stuff you're already doing is gonna be perfect. Um, Let me see. This one says, I think this is so true, and I don't have an IT background. I have some Intel background. Ended up getting a SCAR role, and those meetings in the beginning sounded like a foreign language. Yeah, and actually, some of the Intel stuff even translates. Like I would say, some of the analyst stuff, some of the analyst stuff translates. So SOC analysts, some of the terminology and some of the concepts, like doing reports and stuff, it does match up a bit. So you might want to look into that if you're an analyst. And as a matter of fact, some Intel analysts have to do some cyber analyst work, and some cyber analyst stuff trickles into, like, there's a lot of cross pollination between Intel analysts and SOC analysts. Um, there is some, right, dealing with like the dark web and stuff that's nefarious stuff that's going on there. Intel, cyber threat intel stuff. There is some cross pollination there, so you might want to look into that. Let me see. PMP is a great complementary cert for us tech folks. I've had mine since 2003. See what I'm saying? Like, that PMP is no joke, bro. That would be a great way to leverage your Larry. Like, once you got the PMP, to be honest, it might negate anything else you're doing in cybersecurity. It's powerful, man. I'm not saying don't get the Security Plus, but that PMP is no joke. It's up there, man. Even when I look at that Paul Germany site, I just want to emphasize how incredible the PMP is. So there's a site called Paul Jeremy. I'm sure you guys have seen me go to it before. And he's got a security certification roadmap where he breaks down all the certifications. Let me show you what I got here. He's got this great mapping of all the certifications and the order that you take them, and like a roadmap, basically. So if you look, let me see if I can make this a little bit fit on the screen here. Come on. Okay, he's changed it up a little bit. But anyway, so at the bottom here of this chart, you have entry-level certifications, right? Entry-level certifications all the way down here. And then once you get to the middle of it, you have intermediate certifications. And then once you get up to the top, it's expert-level certifications. Like, you literally have to have like 6-7 years just to even sit for these exams. Anything I'd say above, probably a little bit below the CISSP here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but CISSP is like right here. And then down here, Security Plus. I would have put Security Plus a little higher, but Security Plus is down here, right, slightly above the in the middle or the top of the entry-level certifications. And then in the middle here for cybersecurity, you've got one that you guys would know. I think the CISA is in here, or the CRISC. Nope, CRISC is right here below the CASP. Anyway, my point was PMP is way the hell up here. PMP is, yeah, here it is right here. It's above the CISSP. It's no joke, bro. It's no joke. Don't sleep on the CISSP. I mean, the PMP. Yep. So if you want a really good chart, this is a good one. Me, I'm starting to go through cloud stuff. I'm getting super serious about cloud after talking to my man, Professor Black Ops. And I've started this track where I'm doing cloud stuff very seriously. And my first one is this bottom tier right here, is AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner. And probably, and then AZ 900, this one right here, is another one I took. And I'm just thinking myself, the next one I'm going to take in the cloud space, they got it color coded here. Like these ones right here, is cloud and operating systems and cloud, orange. And then the black is, I want to say these are like GRC type. Hold on a second. Something's going on with this page. We're zoomed in too much. Okay, there we go. So you've got security architecture and engineering in the orange, asset security. In the black, it's security and risk management. And then if you keep going over here, it's got hacker stuff and just all kinds of things. You got network over here in the green. But yeah, this is a really great way to figure out like where you're at, where you want to go. If you're entry level security, Security Plus is an incredible exam. It's gonna bust down some doors for you for sure. Let me see here. I'm trying to look for the AWS. Okay, yeah, this one right here. Oh wow, it's not bad. This is probably one of the next ones I'm gonna take right here. This one's on my list to do, things to do. It's AWS Services Certified Solution Architect. Yep, that's on my list of things to do right there. Okay, anyway, back to the questions. Spencer says, I have solely experienced 8 years ago, no degree. I have solely experienced 8 years, no degree, no certs, and I now run an infrastructure and cyber team for a Fortune 100 company. Yep. So this right here, what Spencer is demonstrating is the importance of experience. So my two mentors, the people who I originally worked with when I was just starting out, and I had certifications already. They had no degree and no certifications. They were my mentors, and very, 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 very brilliant people. I hope maybe one day I can interview them. I don't know if they'll appear on here or whatever, but yeah. Anyway, they had all experience and no certs. No, I mean now they had degrees and all million certifications, but when we first started, we were fresh out of the military, and those guys like, wow. I mean, they had no certs, no degree, no nothing, and they were running circles around my ass. And I had like 4 certs, a degree. So yeah, it's all about the experience, man. That experience will take you a very long way. But my man here, Spencer, has 8 years of experience, which is, you don't even need 8 years to get in the door. Like, you don't need 8 years, right? You don't. So I don't want to discourage you guys by, oh well, this guy has 8 years. How can I ever? Just, you need some experience. You got to get your hands dirty. It's really, really important. Security Plus itself is not going to be what gets you in the door. So I mean, I speak highly of certifications, but they're not gonna be the thing that saves you. It's gonna be, if anything, you spend more time doing the actual hands-on stuff. Let me see. It was a guy on my old Navy ship that ended up going to jail for selling secrets to China. It's a bad choice, bro. Let me see. If you want to give your secrets to China, just use DeepSeek. That's all you got to do. Just use DeepSeek. I'm joking. Let me see here. More questions. I got Security Plus. I'm trying to pivot into GRC after being a satellite communications officer in the Army. Any advice? So one of my old coworkers, he was in the military as a he was an electrical. Oh my god, the electronics guys. All they did was avionics. They will fix electronics, so they had to do soldering of wires and stuff like that. So it was electronics, and what he did. Well, number one, I mean, you already have a technical background, so it should be nothing for you to pick up something like network engineering. Should be super easy for you. And as a matter of fact, that guy was, because of his exposure to to satellite operations and to electronics, network engineering came natural to him. It was like he was born to do it because he had a fundamental understanding that most people don't, which is how the electrons move on a wire. So you're gonna what I would advise you to do is get some networking experience because it's gonna be easy for you. Like you're just gonna understand stuff that normal people outside of your field don't understand. He understood like radio, and to this day he's a ham where he does that radio stuff, right? I don't even know the proper words for it, but and he just got networking in a way that I couldn't. And at the time, I was a CCNA. You know, I was really good at Cisco. I was all right until I met him, and then that guy ran circles around me on freaking routers and switches. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah, my advice would be to go ahead and do some network, get into network engineering. I think you'll find that you'll pick it up very quickly. Get hands-on experience doing network. Another thing is it translates well to what you've already done. Network engineering is going to translate well to what you've already done. If you word it correctly, you'll be able to leverage some of the experience you already have from the Army. Another thing that you might want to do is read up on AR 25-2, which is the Army's network and security policies. You'll find that you've already been doing a lot of that stuff. You've been doing a lot of the stuff that is already military. They force you to do a lot of things you're supposed to do in GRC. So you just in the military you don't know what you're doing, but you're doing the work already. You're already doing GRC. So give you an example would be like if you have an account, if you've ever had to log into a computer in the Army, they force you to do everything you're supposed to do properly. So you already are doing NIST 853. You just don't know the name of it. So if I were you, I would focus on network engineering, pick up a book on it, start actually doing labs for it. But as a matter of fact, before you even start anything, go online, go on YouTube and start looking up, watching videos on other specialists who are doing network engineering. You'll pick it up really quickly and start to figure out like which direction you want to go. Yeah, so that's what I would do if I were you. A friend of mine actually he was a electronics guy, and he became a computer expert. So it's right in line with what you're already doing. Leverage everything all the work you've already done over the years. I'm still currently trying to get my DoD 8570. Do you think that's a good way to go? So DoD 8570 is, for those who don't know, is a whole bunch of security control, a security accepted government security certs. Let me see if I can bring those up. 8570 looks like this. I think this is an old one. In fact, I think they call it 8140 now. These are all certs for the 8140. I mean, they're both the same thing now. I would say the most important thing you can do is get experience. One thing I did was, as I was getting certifications, I was getting hands-on experience. Like these certifications, it's not spoken, I've noticed, but the certifications have a really good curriculum. Like the curriculum it shows you the common body of knowledge that you really need to know for that field. And if you can master all those things by getting hands on as you're learning it, it's actually very effective. So, for example, as you're getting the Security Plus, what you could do is, like, if they're saying, okay, here's how you secure an operating system, is go ahead and read through it, understand it, and then actually secure our operating system. Get yourself a test environment or a test system that you can mess around with, load Linux on it and start putting controls on it, or load Windows on it, start putting security controls. Actually do what it's telling you to do. Like, actually understand it by being hands-on is one of the things that you can do. So I'm not saying don't do 8570 or 8140. Do a search, like, that's fine, but just understand that just getting a Security Plus is not gonna magically get you a job. You need to have hands-on experience as much as possible. You need to be able to walk into a organization and say, if they ask you, listen, do you know how to secure this router, right? If that's one of the jobs. I don't know if I'm just giving you that as an example. We want you to secure this router. How would you do it? You be able to walk them through how to do it. Like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. And and if they're ask you flat out, like, have you done this before? Did you do this at your last job? You say, no, I actually have a lab at home. Like, I actually mess around with this on a regular basis. I know how to back up the configs on a Cisco router. I know how to do it because I've practiced over and over again. So I know the best practices of how to secure and back up a router and a switch. I know how to back up an iOS on the switch and the router. If you start naming off all the jargon for a switch and a router, I mean, they're going to be impressed at the very least. And then you're going to be extremely competitive because you're going to have hands-on experience, where they'll know only a person who's had hands-on will know these things. So certification doesn't give you, well, vendor level certifications sometimes do, but certifications alone don't give you that level of competency. You've got to actually work on it. Spencer says, oh no, I started off as a help desk technician and worked my way up. This is my man right here. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's my background too. All right, guys, that's it. I've got to go do some work, but I really appreciate everybody who joined. I'm always shocked on so many people joining. I mean, I know it's only like a handful of people, but I've been doing this a long time when it was 0. So I really appreciate every person who hits that like button, who hits those hearts. Like, I'm talking about boring stuff that makes money. So that's it. I will continue to tell you guys about my journey doing this kind of stuff. I'll let you guys know what's happening right now. Like I said, I have had one interview. I've talked to a couple of my coworkers. I think within the next 60 days, I'm gonna have a new job. The job market has definitely changed. One thing I didn't mention that I gotta talk about real fast before I let you go is the importance of cloud. I think I talked about this about 5 years ago. It was about 3 years ago when I was going through the same transition of getting this job I'm currently at. And I talked about, man, cloud's so important. And the last interview I had was cloud this and cloud that. Now it's times 5. Now it's even more important and more prevalent than it was 3 years ago. So much so that I am now saying, okay, somebody said, did you get laid off? No, I'm about to quit. They are laying people off. I'm in the government sector, all that stuff you're hearing about with Doge and them rearranging the government and all that's affecting me. It's affecting me and many of my other coworkers. They're changing everything. It doesn't make any sense, but it's like, what am I going to do? Right? I can't change that. I got to play the hand I've been dealt, so I'm out. So yeah, cloud technology, man. So now I'm getting knee deep in AWS. I'm learning Azure. I'm doing hands-on stuff. Like, it's no joke. You got to learn cloud, guys. Like, it's here. It's everywhere I go. It's cloud. So yeah, I need to get smart on cloud, and as well as automation and AI. Like, those things are. But cloud right now, man, you got to know it. like either Azure, AWS, or Google Cloud. Like everybody's using it now. So, all right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much. I will talk to you guys later. I got to go do some work. And I am out of here. I am out of here right about now. Thank you guys so much on YouTube. Appreciate you. I'll try to do this again next week. Regardless, I'll give you guys an update on what's happening with my career path and what I'm learning so far.